Hey, Kristin, what's the difference between a hooker and a drug dealer?
I can't imagine where this is going.
A hooker can wash her crack and resell it.
Oh my God. Can we please start the show now?
Absolutely. But first, Kristin, I need to tell our listeners that we are now doing a video podcast. And I'm very, very excited about this. This is the first time we're doing it. And people who have been listening to our show all along can now watch us record the session on YouTube. Just go to YouTube/Swish Edition. You can subscribe to the show. That would really help us out a lot. And every time we put out a new episode, which is usually on Wednesday, you'll know about it and you'll be able to watch
Yeah,
us actually do the show, which I'm super, super, super excited about.
me too.
So, yeah. So if you guys are listening to the audio version, you're not missing anything except you don't get to see our beautiful faces. So, which I think is kind of fun. And for those that are new to the show, I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. And Kristin, where are you?
I'm all the way across the country outside of Washington, D.C.
2,500 miles apart, but it looks like we're in the same room. How
Kinda.
cool is that?
So, video killed the radio star, huh?
I know, right? 15 years of doing audio only radio. You know, Dale and I started that way. Look, he's
There he is.
There we are in year one when we're on the cover of a magazine.
Wow.
Anyway, this is the all new Swish Edition.
Swish Edition, tune in for a listen. Travels, movies, and celebrities with Scott and Kristin. Swish Edition is where we all go. For pop culture silliness from coast to coast. It's where we belong. SwishEdition.com. SwishEdition.com.
How do you like that?
I like it.
That's our
That's a
new
good one.
That's our new jingle. I tell you, I love
It works.
yeah. Love Fiverr. Fiverr is where we got
Fiverr.
that from. Yeah. So
Oh, it's the gig economy app thing, right?
yeah, you can get them to do all kinds of fun stuff. Logos or jingles or bumpers, all kinds of fun stuff. So it's fun. I actually made the new Swish Edition logo, which I'm wearing on my shirt.
Love
I
it.
did that myself. Yeah. This is the third logo. We originally had the original logo. Then we had this logo for a long time after Dale and I moved to Vegas, and now it's this. So
I like it.
if you guys are listening to the audio only version, you're not seeing what we're showing you. So get over to YouTube and watch it. So, Kristin, it's April 2nd, 2025, and we're still working out the kinks with this video thing,
Uh-huh.
but we'll see if people love looking at us while we're doing the show.
Maybe
Why
they
wouldn't?
won't.
Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll tune out. Maybe now that they see what we look like, they'll be like, I'm going to find me a new podcast to listen to. Right now, there's only about 400,000 active podcasts in the United States. So I don't know how someone could possibly decide what to pick or listen to.
I would have thought that there would have been more, actually. 400,000 seems low.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. It's a lot. I think it's a lot. It's a lot more than we have TV shows. But, it doesn't cost a lot. So that's why everyone and their mother thinks they can do it, including literally every celebrity in Hollywood. Every celebrity in Hollywood has their own podcast these days.
Yeah, I bet they do.
I realize why this thing wasn't staying in my ear.
What is
because
happening?
I had the wrong one in there. So there's a left and there's a right.
They're handed. Yes, they're.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll try to remember that for next time. Hey, breaking news. I saw this on the news yesterday morning. There's a bipartisan bill here in the legislature, here in my state, and it's called Lock the clock. And it's got bipartisan approval. Both the Democrats and the Republicans want to get it done. And what this means is starting in November, the state of Nevada is going to stick with standard time and not switch anymore in November and March.
Stick with standard. Wait. That not daylight savings time, but just regular time.
Right. Which is what our neighbor Arizona to our east does. So we would be joining them. Yeah, it's very annoying.
It's annoying. I don't think I like that. I think I would like it if they froze us on daylight savings time.
There's people in both camps. Yeah, I don't know which one's better for the kids. I think a lot of people, it all comes down to the kids and how early they have to go outside to get on the school bus or walk to school.
Well, but I think it's also about preserving the most daylight at the end of the day so that they can, so I would want us to freeze daylight savings time right now while Max is little.
Yeah.
Because he, in the summertime, he'll play outside until, when it doesn't get dark until 8:30, he's running around riding his bike and he loves that. So I wouldn't want that to go away.
I think I would much rather have more daylight at the end of the day than at the beginning of the day. For sure.
But you're right. The consequence is when you get up in the morning, it's dark. And sometimes when you're putting your kids on the school bus or when they're standing out there and people are driving, it's hard to see them. So that's a problem.
It's a mess. Either way, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people no matter what happens. So, but we will certainly be watching that here in my state to see if this happens.
Yeah, so then Arizona won't be the odd man out. You'll be in solidarity with them. Well, so have you heard about this? YouTube has recently made a decision to pull the ad revenue from AI-generated fake videos, specifically the fan-made fake movie trailers that people make for movies that don't really exist in real life, or people add fake scenes and characters to real movies that exist, like the upcoming Superman movie or Fantastic Four. YouTube says their misinformation policies prohibit content that has been technically manipulated or doctored in a way that misleads viewers. But I guess, right, which seems like, but the creators say that they're doing it to entertain people, not to mislead them.
Right. You know what? I see it both ways. You know how I have said it on this show many times. I have a huge problem with AI generated stuff. And especially like so-called original art or books that are being created with AI. It's illegitimate, I believe. It's taking the easy way out. It's taking jobs and livelihood away from people who are truly talented, like my brother-in-law, Jay, who is an artist and an illustrator of children's books. He does it all with a pen and a paper. I know. Not a computer.
But I hear that, and I feel for creators that are being impacted by AI. But like most things in life, I think there are pros and cons, and AI makes people's lives easier. I mean, right? What's the cost? I guess is the question. But even things like, I have an app that joins meetings with me.
Right.
It's called, I think it's called Fathom, and it joins the meeting and it listens to a Zoom call, and it literally at the end of the meeting sends you a transcription of every action item that was discussed, who it belongs to, what the dates are. It formats it all, so you don't have to waste your time scribbling furiously notes when you're in a meeting anymore, which is fantastic.
Sure. I don't have a problem with that kind of thing. I have a problem with AI that's used to create new art, basically.
Well, I get the art part, but I mean, I use AI almost every day. I have used it to a tremendous amount in even something as silly as a job application, right? Where in every job application, if there isn't an opportunity, cover letters are sort of antiquated and not many people ask for a cover letter, but there will frequently be a section on the application that says, describe why you want to work here, or describe how you're a fit for this role.
Yeah.
AI puts that together because I've fed it my resume. I can ask it that question and do that in 3 seconds, which normally it would have taken me however long to write. And, you know, there are some applications of it that are wildly helpful. The fact that you can go into AI, you can go to ChatGPT and say, give me a grocery list. I want to make these 4 things for dinner next week. Give me a grocery list for what I need to buy. I mean, it's endlessly helpful.
I get that. No, I have no problem with that. But when you do use it to mislead people, then it's not a nice thing. And obviously YouTube has agreed that it's not cool to put something out there and profit off someone else's work, because they're basically taking things that already exist, like the new Superman movie that's coming out this July, and making money off the altered trailer that they've created for things that are happening in the movie that don't really happen.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah. So
and it is misleading. Even if it's entertaining, it is 100% misleading.
Absolutely. Agreed. Well, let me skip ahead a little bit in here because I want to talk about, speaking of AI, the parent company of Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and Kentucky Fried Chicken is planning to roll out AI to all of their restaurants in the entire United States. Now, they've done this in a couple locations as a test. And what we're talking about is when you drive up to the box where you order, you're going to place an order when you're going to the drive-thru, you're not going to be talking to a real person anymore. You're going to be talking to a computer. They're going to say, "Hi, welcome to KFC. Can I take your order, please?" And you're going to say the order to them, but you're not actually talking to someone. Then that order goes through their computer system and it spits it out in the kitchen, and they put it and then someone puts it together for you. But here's the thing. A lot of people are upset about this because a lot of people who have done it at the test locations said that 9 times out of 10, the order's wrong.
I have a hard time believing that AI is wrong more frequently than the human beings that usually screw up an order at the drive-thru window. Come on.
I don't know that that's true. I just was reading the comments on the story, so...
I find that very hard to believe, and if it like spits it back at you and says, okay, you wanted a cheeseburger, a French fry, or whatever, then you have an opportunity to correct it, and your chances are probably better than if it's a person. I would think. I'm all for it.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, the company wants to save money. They're not going to have as many employees on duty at all times because that person isn't going to have to be busy taking orders. So, I mean, you've probably been to McDonald's or these other restaurants where you walk in nowadays, if you actually go inside, which I like to do, and you don't order with a person. You order on a kiosk machine.
Exactly.
There's no one there to take your order.
Right.
You can get their attention because there's some old people that I've seen walk in that just cannot figure out how to use, like your mother would not be able to figure out how to use that friggin' machine.
No, not in a million years. And I will tell you that instead of going through the drive-thru, when I go occasionally to McDonald's to order, like, lunch for us on the weekend or something, I get out of my car and I go in to use the kiosk because then I'm in control of making sure the order is exactly the way I want it to be.
Exactly.
And when you go through the drive-thru, it's never right. There's always something that's missing or something gets inputted the wrong way.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I try to go in as much as possible. I actually like going inside, and I like human interaction. So I'm happy to go in, unless it's raining or I'm wearing sweatpants. Because I won't go. I won't go in public in sweatpants.
Oh my Lord.
Well, I want to jump back up to the story I put in the wrong order. Speaking of misleading people from your story, I couldn't believe this. This just happened a couple days ago. Norwegian Cruise Line, which I've been on a couple times, they're under fire for a massive screw up. It was a massive switcheroo that they pulled on these poor people. So NCL just launched a brand new ship called the Aqua. It's a gorgeous new, huge, massive ship. That's all the cruise lines are doing now, are these massive ships that hold like 6,000 people. Crazy. So their inaugural sailing took place. They're actually at sea right now. They left Southampton, which is just outside of London in England, on Friday for what was supposed to be an 8-night cruise to Boston. So no stops, all the way across the ocean for 8 nights, and then they were going to Boston. After passengers got to the terminal and dropped off their luggage and then went inside to go through security and then check in before they go on the ship, they were told at that point they weren't going to Boston. They were going to New York City, and it was going to take an extra 3 days to get there. So it wasn't an 8-day cruise anymore. It was an 11-day cruise, and they were going to end up in a completely different city.
That's ridiculous.
Well, of course it's ridiculous, and they blamed it on the weather. Now, of course, yes.
What?
Yeah, but apparently they made the decision at the crack of dawn that morning, so they had time to warn people, but they didn't do that. They didn't tell people until they were literally checking in to walk onto the ship. Now, the people who brought this to my attention were some people that I follow here on YouTube. These 2 gay guys that go on cruises all the time, and they do really great videos they do whole ship tours, and they talk about what's good and what's bad about all these. And it's their full-time job. They have so many viewers that they just cruise all year round. A pretty good gig if you can get it.
How fun is that? Wow.
Well, they couldn't get on the ship. They gave them their luggage. They found out that they weren't going to Boston, but they were going to Boston for a wedding that was happening the day after they were arriving in Boston. So they decided they could not miss the wedding. So they had to dump off the cruise. They couldn't go on the cruise. And then they had to buy an airplane ticket and fly to Boston.
Wow.
Which I assume they haven't done yet because the wedding is next weekend or whatever. But, there's got to be a lot of people. Maybe people had to go back to work. Maybe they already had
Obviously.
flights booked from.
This is preposterous. This is just the dumbest thing I ever heard. And you could understand if it was a round trip situation and
Sure.
they said we're going to these ports and not these ports, and too
that
bad, don't be sad.
That
the
happens
weather,
all the
whatever.
time.
I'm sure. But there's very little impact to you other than you don't get to see what you thought you were going to get to see, right?
Right.
But how could they not understand that lengthening the trip and taking people to a different city, that wouldn't be upsetting to people?
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And I would be livid, absolutely livid, because most likely I would have had a airplane ticket purchased to take me back home to Las Vegas after I got off the ship in Boston.
Of course.
So all that would have to be changed. Then you're ending up in a city that you didn't want to be in the first place, unless you happen to live in New York City, and then maybe it was great for those few people,
The only way I wouldn't be livid is if they said, "Here for your troubles, we'll give you a free cruise."
Right, which they did not do. And the guys who make the videos said it took them 5 hours to get their luggage back. So they were just stuck there at the port waiting for 5 hours to get their luggage before they could even go live their lives. 5 hours.
If that happened to me, there's not a way in the world I would ever spend one single thin dime on that cruise ship line again.
Dale and I have been on NCL twice. We did it once out of Los Angeles or maybe San Diego and went to Mexico for a week. And that was glorious because we were in what they call the Haven, which is the VIP of the VIP, where you're not mixing and mingling with the commoners. We had our own dining room. We literally had our own dining room. It was so nice. But then we went a second time. The most recent cruise that I've been on to, we went from Seattle to Alaska, and it was miserable. The crew was horrible. It took forever to get drinks, and it rained the entire time. But then now that wasn't NCL's fault.
That wasn't their fault.
No, but I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan at all. Anyway, I want to remind people just really quick what they're listening to. So let me play this.
Get ready for pop culture silliness. Coast to coast and everywhere in between. Scott Scott's on the mic in Sin City. Kristin is beaming in from our nation's capital. And absolutely nothing is off the table. Strap yourself in, kids, because it's going to be a wild ride. This is the all-new Swish edition.
I did notice something, a problem there. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So because your mic was on for that whole thing, I heard a double echo of the music.
Oh.
So I guess when we play bumpers, you're going to have to press your mute button.
Okay, then.
Hey.
You're going to edit this out?
Nope, I'm not. We're going to keep going.
All right.
It's a
Great.
lot it's a lot easier if we don't.
Okay. Warts and all. Cool.
Yeah.
So I have a story now about our hometown, from our hometown. So Colonial Williamsburg is going to be in the new Ken Burns documentary.
I love that.
I know. It's a new 6-part, 12-hour documentary on the American Revolution on PBS. It starts in November. Did you know that this year is the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1775.
Yeah. So apparently he filmed at like 19 different places across Williamsburg for the documentary series. Yeah, that's cool.
That's very cool.
It's a cool
I
thing to
tell
look
you,
forward to.
I don't know how many people know that, but we both, Kristin and I, grew up in Williamsburg, Virginia. And if you guys haven't been there, you've probably heard about it a million times. Who hasn't, right? And anyone who went to school in the Mid-Atlantic states went there on a field trip at least once. But man, let me tell you, it was a very, very special place to grow up. We were very, very lucky. We were in
I didn't
Colonial
appreciate it though. At all.
You don't think you did? I did.
I didn't. When I was a kid, I did not appreciate it at all. It was like, oh no, someone's coming to visit. That means we have to go downtown and put our head in the stockade things again, like snore. But now I very much appreciate it, but I didn't then.
Well, Kristin and I both worked we worked in Colonial Williamsburg at a place called With Candy, which is still there. And Kristin, I was just there in October, and it is exactly the friggin' same.
Oh
now,
my
what's
gosh.
not the same about With Candy are the prices. Holy F.
Really?
Holy F. Talk about inflation. You would just be bowled over by what they're charging for fudge.
Well, I mean, it was expensive when we worked there 500 years ago. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just kept pace. I mean,
Did you ever work in fudge?
I did that. I think they start everyone in fudge when you work there. I've always said that they had the most brilliant policy, that they basically said, you can eat as much as you want of the candy that's behind the counter.
Brilliant.
Yes, because everyone who works there gorges themselves the first week, and then they're so sick that they never want to eat another piece of fudge the rest of their lives.
It was very smart. It was very, very smart. And you would think more companies would do that. Yeah. And I also worked for the Williamsburg Lodge, which is one of the official hotels of Colonial Williamsburg. I loved working there. I was a room service waiter. I got up, my parents made us work during the summers. Were you forced to work during the summers? Or was it voluntarily?
I wasn't forced. I wanted to because I wanted my own money.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to too. But what I did is I kept working throughout the school year too, once I turned 16. And I'd get up. I had to be up at 4 a.m. on every Saturday and Sunday to go do breakfast room service. But then I would leave with so much friggin' money. I had so much money. It was so great. I got tipped very, very well.
That was a good teenage job.
It was a good gig, man. It was a good gig. Well, I'm super excited about Ken Burns' documentary, so I'll definitely put that on the calendar, and we'll remind you guys in November that you need to watch it, so you can be patriotic.
I'm excited about that. I'm not excited about your next topic.
I'm super excited about, we finally have a date for the Downton Abbey movie. This is the third movie to be made from the TV show. It's called Downton Abbey, the grand finale. This is it. This is going to wrap it all up, and it's going to premiere a theater near you on September 12th.
I wouldn't see it if it was playing on my back porch.
What the fuck is wrong with you? It's one of the best things ever made. Did you not?
I'm just
have you
not a
ever
Downton
tried
Abbey
it?
person. No.
You never. Well, how can you hate something or not like something that you've never seen?
I don't know. Just like period British things are just not appealing to me at all. Sorry.
So good in so many different ways. All right. F you and your mother.
She loves it, actually. My mother's a huge Downton Abbey fan.
Of course. Every old person loves it.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I made Dale go with me to the 2 movies, and he actually really enjoyed them. And he never watched the series on TV.
Really?
So you can enjoy them without having watched it. Yeah.
Well, whatever. I'll never know because I'm never watching it. Another date has been announced. Katy Perry, Gayle King, Lauren Sanchez, and other all-women astronauts and their all-women crew will blast off on Blue Origin's rocket on Monday, April 14th, coming up.
I'm kind of excited about that. Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it. I don't think I could.
Oh no, I wouldn't do it, but I'm excited to watch it.
You are?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my girl Katy Perry, she's right up here on my wall. No, I love her, and I hope she comes back. I don't really care if Gayle King comes back, but
oh, Scott. Yeah, I just don't know. I'm not sure I understand the purpose. Like they need to advertise rocket launch travel with celebrities. I don't get it. Is it benefiting them in some way? Are they raising money for charity?
It's a PR move, I'm sure. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. Well, it will be interesting. Speaking of things that go up in the air, this is a great story. You know, we love to talk about silly things that have happened on airplanes and in airports. We've been doing that a lot lately, almost every single episode, it seems.
There's a lot of crap going on.
Well, there's an off-duty Southwest flight attendant who might not be a flight attendant for Southwest anymore.
Oopsie.
She was a passenger. She was off-duty. She was a passenger on a Southwest flight from here in Las Vegas up to Reno when a battery fire broke out on the airplane, and they had to make an emergency landing in Reno. And when they came to a stop, they opened the doors and put out the slides, and all the passengers had to evacuate onto the tarmac. She was one of them. Well, a passenger that got off before her, you know, you walk away from the airplane like they tell you to in case it blows up. He turned around and started filming, which is exactly what I would be doing because I'd want that, you know, I would want to put that on my social media, right? Hey, look what happened to me. And they got video of this flight attendant coming down the emergency slide, and she had all of her carry-on luggage with her, which is a huge no-no. And the flight attendants will scream at you and tell you, do not take anything, leave, bring nothing, just you, not bring nothing.
Right.
But she broke all the rules and did it herself. And so she's seen walking across the tarmac with her bags.
Oh my gosh.
I suspect, and if I was one of the execs at Southwest, I think I'd fire her because it sends a horrible message to everyone else. Yeah.
It really does. Speaking of airline people that should be fired, or maybe not fired, but let's keep the airline theme going.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? There was a United Airlines flight this time that had to turn around mid-flight because the pilot forgot his passport. Are you kidding me? Yeah, United Flight 198 from Los Angeles to Shanghai on March 22nd. They ended up diverting to San Francisco 3 hours after they took off. They had to get a whole new crew, and 257 passengers that were on board eventually left again 4 hours later.
So they were 7 hours late getting to Shanghai.
Yeah, and do you know what they gave them for their troubles?
I can't imagine.
2 food vouchers worth $30. I mean, come on. But honest to God, like they had to have suspended the guy. Like,
oh, I would think you would get in some kind of trouble for that. I mean, it shouldn't be on your checklist.
It's part of your job every single time you go.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world?
That's kind of ridiculous. How do they even get away with that? Isn't someone checking before they get on the airplane?
You would think so, but I don't know if they should. I don't know if I were the king of United Airlines, I don't know if I'd fire him, but I certainly would suspend him without pay for some period of time or some sort of disciplinary measure.
Yeah,
I mean, that's ridiculous.
that is crazy, but that's a fun story. I think I'd be super super pissed off if that happened to me. Yeah. There's some big Mega Millions lottery changes coming, which I think a lot of people are very excited about. Now, do you play? Because you have the lottery in Virginia. We don't have it here in Nevada.
I do. And what's funny is I have literally never one time in my whole life walked into a convenience store or a grocery store and bought a lottery ticket, like physically live in person. I have an account online to the Virginia Lottery online, and whenever the Mega Millions gets really, really big, I'll go and buy 10 tickets or whatever.
You can buy them online?
Yeah.
But you have to be in Virginia to actually do it.
You do. And the reason I know that that's true is because I think we must have been in California or something, and the Mega Millions got really big, and I was trying to go through my Virginia lottery account, and it could tell from my IP address that I wasn't in the state.
Exactly, which is why I can't buy them. Well, when it gets really big, I call my dad, and he buys them in Williamsburg, Virginia for me.
Oh, well, there you go.
He's really cute about it too, because I'm sure I've talked about this on the show before. And I only do it when it gets really big because I want to be a billionaire, really, really bad. I mean, who doesn't want to be a billionaire? And the main reason I want to be a billionaire.
So you can have a private jet.
So I can have a private jet. It doesn't have to be mine. I can rent them. But I want one very badly, so I don't have to deal with the aforementioned common people.
It's such a burden for you. I understand.
But he's really cute. As soon as he goes and buys me the ticket, he comes home and takes a picture of it and sends it to me, so I know which one is mine, so that he can't say, "Oh, this one was mine. It's not yours." And then he puts it in his safe for me, and he keeps a running tab of how much I owe him.
That's adorable.
Well, here are the big changes happening. So when it reset, when someone wins, previously it used to roll back to $20 million. That's where it always started. That's the lowest you could win. Well, now it's going to roll back to $50 million. So the minimum that someone can win is $50 million. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
They're also improving the odds. The odds of winning something will go from 1 in 24 to 1 in 23 because they're getting rid of one of the balls. Also, there's going to be larger jackpots because it'll grow faster, they say. Faster growing. The average estimated jackpot is going to be over $800 million compared to the current average of $450. So it's going to be a lot of those big, big, big ones that we're going to be buying tickets for. And they know we're going to buy tickets when it gets big, and that's why they want it to get big.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about this. I just wish we could bring it here. I wish we had it in Nevada. The reason we don't is because some of the casino companies are against it, and they actively lobby up in Reno or Carson City, which is our capital, to keep it out of our state. So they think it's going to hurt their bottom line. Now, it's not Caesars and MGM. It's not the strip that they're worried about. It's the off-strip casinos like Stations, which is our biggest off-strip company here in Vegas, because they want the locals to come in and spend the money on gambling and slot machines, not on the lottery.
The logic in that does not hold up for me.
It doesn't.
I think it's not mutually exclusive. That's
I don't think
the
so
silliest
either.
thing I ever heard.
I know. I'm still going to play slot machines, and I'm still going to, if we had the lottery, I'd still buy a couple lottery tickets.
Of course.
I wouldn't spend nearly as much money on lottery tickets as I do on slot machines, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I've spent way too much money. Well, actually, Dale and I are planning to take a little break from slot machines because we've overdone it. We're in the middle of a break right now.
Okay, good. Stay home and watch TV or something.
April Fools.
Oh, jeez. I fell for it.
It's yeah. Well, we're taping this on April Fool's Day. So.
Right. Okay, this is just that I love this story. Are you ready for this?
I am.
This might be a first. Kermit the Frog has been named as the commencement speaker for the University of Maryland. So commencement's going to be on May 21st in College Park. And of course, the late Jim Henson, the wonderful puppeteer, is a University of Maryland alum. And apparently he previously addressed the 1996 graduates of the former Southampton College of Long Island University in Southampton, New York. Henson
Kermit the Frog did.
Oh, Kermit the Frog did.
Kermit the Frog did. Yeah. I've seen. I saw pictures of that.
So the University of Maryland said, quote, an international superstar and best-selling author who in many ways got his start right here on our campus. From humble beginnings, he has gone on to become one of the world's most beloved and enduring cultural icons, all while sharing a message of optimism and believing in yourself. That's just precious.
Well, that is precious. I wonder what the kids who are graduating seniors this year think about that as a commencement speaker.
I don't know.
Remember the voice and puppeteer of the original Kermit the Frog was Jim Henson himself. Obviously someone else is doing it now, and he does a really good job. He's mimicked. Because we've seen Kermit the Frog a lot in the last couple of decades, and Jim Henson passed away years and years ago. So
yeah, a long time ago.
But I wonder who writes that. Who writes that speech? Someone at Muppetland? I mean.
I guess.
Yeah, because Kermit the Frog's not a real frog.
Right. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, people. And real frogs actually don't talk.
No, so, they don't. They don't. You're right.
Crazy. I have some Las Vegas news for you because I've been trying to get Kristin, and I want Rob to come. And if you need to bring that kid, you can bring him too. I would love to get you guys out here to Las Vegas. We have so much fun stuff. And if you brought Max, there's lots and lots of fun kid things to do here. We would just need some time to go do some adult things. We'd just hire a babysitter or something.
Right.
Unless you think he's old enough to stay home with the dogs. I don't know.
No, he's not.
Not yet. Well, we do have a pool in the backyard. That would be very scary.
Yeah, no.
But I know some babysitters, so we could think about that. Anyway, some Las Vegas news. This is not something we could take Max to. It's called. Have you heard of this? It's called the Empire Strips Back, not strikes. Strips. This is a show. It's a stage show with women mostly who are scantily clad but dressed as Star Wars characters.
Of course. It's
coming to the Rio. The official opening date is, of course, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Mm-hmm. They are unaffiliated with the Star Wars family. They have no permission to do this, but they're using all the characters, costumes, and music under parody laws because they're calling it The Empire Strips Back, a Star Wars parody. So I guess they're allowed to do it.
Wow.
I
can't believe that they're getting away with that.
Did you see some of the pictures? If you guys go to our social media, you can take a look at them. It looks pretty good. It looks like it has high production values, and it's getting great reviews. It's touring the country right now. The show is 2 hours long with a 15-minute intermission. I don't know if I can watch strippers for 2 hours.
That's too long.
It seems like it should be like a tight 80-90-minute show where you just sit and watch it and then leave. But I could list all the cities they're coming to, but literally, Kristin, they're coming to every city. I was about to type in all the cities. It's all of them, like literally all of them. Now, I'm not talking about Des Moines, but well, maybe they're coming to Des Moines. That's a sizable city.
There really is that much of an appetite across this great country of ours to watch the Empire Strips Back.
They're in LA, New York, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Austin, Miami, everywhere. And they're going to be here in Las Vegas starting May 4th. So they must have multiple troops all over the country so they can be doing this all over. Anyway, it's gotten great reviews. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll do well. Also, for your calendar, if you guys still have your calendars out, Lady Gaga announced her new Mayhem Ball tour. It's called the Mayhem Ball Tour to support her new album, which is great, and I love it, and I love every song on it. She's starting right here in Las Vegas at our T-Mobile Arena, where our hockey team plays. She's going to be here July 16th and 18th, and guess who else is going to be there?
Who?
Me.
Oh.
For sure. Do you know Lady
Gaga.
Gaga's real name?
I didn't until I saw this script.
Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanata. And her friends don't call her Gaga. They call her Stephanie. So if you're good friends with her, you're going to be calling her Stephanie.
I guess she kind of looks like a Stephanie Germanata.
Stephanie Germanata. I love that. I saw this. This is not on our script, but I saw this morning when I was going through social media. It was a video. I don't know if it was on Reels or I don't know if I was on Instagram or what, but I think it was on Reels. This guy was on the street interviewing people randomly, and he randomly interviewed Madonna for like 2 minutes, and it was so cute. And he said, "Hi, ma'am. What's your name?" And she says, "Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone."
Ciccone.
Yeah, it was really cute. It was really cute. And then she answered all his questions, and then she walked away. I'm sure it was planned.
Of course.
Because she had no security around her, and I'm sure Madonna does not walk down the streets of New York by herself.
No, and she certainly wouldn't give an unplanned interview to some rando.
It definitely had to be planned and staged ahead of time. Although I love this story. I know that you're not a huge Bravo fan, but you know I am, and I love Andy Cohen, who is the father of all Bravo, and I actually have a picture of him on my wall over there with me and him. He had this great story about he had a party. I don't know if it was a Christmas party or what kind of party it was at his apartment before he had kids. And he invited Madonna. And he was like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way Madonna is coming to my house. Not to my little apartment. This Bravo dude. She came. She showed up, and she showed up all by herself. No assistants, no guest, no date.
When
and
was
no security people. Maybe like
recently?
7 or 8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. How cool is that?
That is super cool.
If you guys are ever having a party, don't, invite everybody. Invite Madonna. She might come.
Madonna.
She might come.
Yeah,
I just think that's cool that she just showed up by herself. Madonna.
Yeah. It's brave. Brave to do.
Very brave.
Scott, have you ever been to Donald Trump's hotel there in Las Vegas?
No.
No.
On purpose.
No.
On purpose.
Okay,
it doesn't have it doesn't have a casino, and apparently the restaurant's not that hot, so I really have no reason to go there. But I know where it is, and I pass it all the time. That's where the Tesla blew up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, I recall that. Well, a family of a woman who died there is suing the hotel. And wait till you hear why. Yikes. So she was apparently leaving through the front of the hotel through the revolving door, as you do when you're exiting the lobby of a hotel.
Sure.
And apparently, allegedly, this wrongful death suit claims that the door sped up as she was entering it and ejected her. I'm sorry, it's not funny. Ejected her out the other side, such that she was thrown out the door and flown several feet and landed face down on the cement. And this woman, she was 78. But the thing is, she died a year and a half after she was supposedly violently ejected from the revolving door. Okay. So, and then the other thing I thought was very strange that I actually had to fact check your script on is that they're asking for $15,000 in damages, which I was like, no, that can't be right. They must be asking for $15 million. And no, they're asking for $15,000 in damages, which is the state's minimum. I mean,
so they're not doing it for the money.
They're not.
No.
They're saying the equipment was improperly maintained. You did not, keep to the standards of whatever standards revolving doors have to be confined to. I don't know. And I think the point they're making is not that she died obviously directly as a result of landing face down on the pavement, but that, as so often happens, I think, with older people, it started a chain reaction of health problems that ultimately led to her demise.
I get it. I guess this is either 50-50. She could win, I guess. They could win because it's such a small amount of money.
Yeah.
Or not. They'll probably say go pound dirt because this is silly. She died a year and a half after the fact. I find it hard to believe that someone could be violently ejected from a revolving door. I've been in plenty of them. Now, most of them, you have to push with your own energy to get it to turn around. But I've definitely been in the kind, especially at airports, that are power assisted. So you walk into it, and as soon as you walk into it, it starts turning. But there's no way that it would go fast enough to push someone out of it.
Yeah. I was picturing one of the great big giant kind, right? That are sort of always revolving, to your point. Like I've seen them at hospitals, and I'm sure they have them in gigantic Donald Trump style hotels in Las Vegas.
Guess so.
Which are quite powerful, but it is hard to imagine that it would malfunction to such a degree that suddenly it's moving at, 30 miles an hour and launches you into the street.
Well, it'll be interesting to follow this to see what happens. I think it'll probably go nowhere. I bet you.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, though. I've been wrong about a lot of things over the years. That's for
you
damn
don't
sure.
say.
Hey, are you and Rob watching the new show on Apple TV Plus called The Studio?
I watched the first episode of it. That would not be Rob's cup of tea at all in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
I think it's really well done, though.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, this is it's basically a Hollywood industry satire of the movie making process. So it's a behind the scenes kind of thing. It was created by Seth Rogan and his creative partner, Evan Goldberg. They created it, they write it, and they take turns directing episodes. And of course, Seth Rogan stars in it. He's the main guy who's the exec at this Continental Pictures, this fake movie company. But it has the amazing Catherine O'Hara in it. You guys know her from SCTV, and she was in Schitt's Creek, and she was in Home Alone. She's the Home Alone mom. She's amazing and so funny. And then Catherine Hahn, who was in Bad Moms and Bad Moms Christmas, and she does a bunch of Disney stuff, and she is fucking hilarious too. And then tons and tons of people playing fictionalized versions of themselves, like Charlize Theron, Martin Scorsese. The list goes. Frank Capra, no, he's dead. I forget who else, but a bunch of people. Anyway, it's a great show. But I have to say, if you guys just want to check it out, and you want to see one of the best single episodes of a TV show I've ever seen in my life, episode 2. It's 30 minutes long, and it was filmed in one take. There's one camera take from the very first second to the very last. They never cut. And they drive down the street, and they go all through this house, outside, inside, scores and scores of characters. I don't know how many times they had to rehearse it. Seth Rogen's character even goes into the bathroom and pees. I mean, the whole thing was done in real time, and they did such an amazing job. And I can't imagine how many times it took to get it right.
That's kind of mind-boggling, that part of it. I only made it through one episode. I will say, to its credit, I am not a Seth Rogen fan, never have been. His laugh is possibly one of the most annoying laughs in the history of the world.
I think he's so cute.
Oh God, he annoys the shit out of me. But he is not annoying in this show. It was definitely entertaining.
You did like it. Good. I'm glad to hear about that.
I did. So you and I are both huge, I think, White Lotus fans, right?
Yeah.
You're a White Lotus fan?
Cannot wait for Sunday night. Cannot wait for Sunday night.
Don't say anything, because I'm like 1 or 2 episodes behind the current season.
I don't want to give spoiler alerts, because for people who haven't seen it, I want them to watch it, and I want them to start with season 1.
Yes.
We're in season 3 now, and you really need You can just watch one. You don't have to watch them in any order, but watch them all because they're so good.
I finally convinced Rob to start watching it, so we watched the first episode of season 1 last night. But this, I read about this, and well, let me just tell you about it before I comment what I think. So, in the 3rd season of The White Lotus, Timothy Ratliff is the troubled, the father of one of the families that's at the resort in this season. Their characters are from Raleigh, North Carolina. Exactly. And famously, they're, speaking in Southern accents. By the way, I can't think of the actor's name. You can probably look it up while we're talking. I had no idea that this actor is the same actor who played Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies. No idea. The dad. Yeah. The actor who plays Timothy Ratliff, which is the dad character that we're talking about. So the issue is that they're from Raleigh. This character went to Duke University, and in several scenes, he's wearing a sweatshirt with Duke on the front of it.
T-shirt.
A T-shirt? I thought it was What's the first scene was in the sweatshirt.
Maybe, but it is really hot there.
Anyway, but this speaks to my reaction to this. I couldn't tell you when he was wearing a T-shirt with Duke on it because it didn't occur to me to make a federal case out of it until Duke had a fit over it, and they're saying that, well, this is their quote. Duke appreciates artistic expression and creative storytelling, but characters prominently wearing apparel bearing Duke's federally registered trademarks creates confusion and mistakenly suggests an endorsement of affiliation where none exists.
That's ridiculous.
So they're saying White Lotus didn't get permission for this troubled character to, and I won't say why, but right, there are some scenes that are troubling and controversial.
Yeah.
But like, they shouldn't have said anything because nobody noticed that his character is from the South.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Exactly.
I think this is so silly. I think it's kind of like, y'all need to get over yourselves down there at Duke. Give me a break.
I mean, if someone decided they wanted to wear the Swish Edition logo T-shirt, I'd be thrilled. I don't care if they're Charles Manson or Martha Stewart.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I just think Duke has a very inflated opinion of themselves.
I think so too. Although I think there's a lot of people who are probably betting that Duke is going to win this Saturday.
Oh,
we'll see what happens. They are in the Final Four, so
I always root against them.
I'm going to do my best not to watch it at all. We're not supposed to talk about politics, but Trump did do a good thing this Monday with the help of Kid Rock, who paid Trump a visit in the West Wing. I have to say this because it's a nonpartisan thing, really. Basically, what he wants to do, the Trump administration, is they're going after ticket scalpers and ticket gougers. They want greater price transparency, stronger enforcement of unfair and anti-competitive ticket resale practices. And I say, hallelujah, this should have been done a million years ago. I think selling, there's these companies that use bots that go in as soon as a concert or something is announced, and they go buy all the best tickets, and then they put them on StubHub and sell them for, 200%, 300%. 1,000% more than the ticket price. And I think that should be illegal, and I think it should be done away with, and I don't think it should be allowed.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's just simply no fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair to the artists and the creators of the content. It's not fair to the ticket consumers, the concert goers. It's not fair to the venue operators. It's not fair to anyone. They're like, ugh.
Yeah, and not everyone has $10,000 to spend on Taylor Swift tickets. So
no shit.
It's ridiculous and uncalled for. And I've said this before many times on the Swish Edition, Kristin. I think when you buy a concert ticket, they should print your name on the ticket, just like they do with an airline ticket. That's your ticket. You're the only one that can use it. And if you can't go, then you sell it back or return it to the venue for your money back. or minus some fees or whatever. But I think that's the way it should be done. I really do. And that way we would kill StubHub's business. And I feel sorry for them if you own StubHub stock. But I just don't think it should be allowed. I think it's horrible, horrible practice.
It's a gouge. Yeah, it's definitely a gouge to the consumer. I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. We'll follow up and see exactly what this administration plans to do and how they're going to stop this from happening. So, be interesting.
Good.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Can I just ask, is there anyone on the planet who doesn't love Dolly Parton at this point? I mean, she is just, everyone loves her, right?
Yeah.
But do you love her enough to want to have an airport named after her, I guess would be the question. So there's apparently a petition that wants to rename Nashville's airport to Dolly Parton International. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know that that's necessary. I mean, she's already got a theme park.
Right. She's already got Dollywood. So the petition started apparently when Tennessee lawmakers introduced a bill to rename BNA, which I didn't even know that was the acronym for the airport, for Nashville Airport, after President Trump. Luckily, that failed. That bill failed on March 18th.
Interesting.
And that's all we'll say about that.
Well, yeah, it's not going to happen. Petition, there's tons of petitions.
Sure.
Just because 20,000 people sign a petition doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
But it's kind of stupid. Anyway, wanted to talk about this. We were going to talk about this the other week, but now it's a done deal. So I'm glad we didn't talk about it because now it's actually happening. A company called Ketchup Entertainment, interesting name, just recently bought the previously shelved, completely completed movie from Warner Brothers. It's called Coyote versus Acme. I'm super, super excited about this because, I'm a huge Wile E. Coyote fan. Dale and I have a huge Wile E. Coyote in our family room. It's a big, huge picture that's like 5 feet tall. And we love him to death. And so finally this movie's coming out. Yeah, it looks really cute. Will Forte plays the lawyer that Wile E. Coyote hires to sue the Acme Corporation because all of their shit keeps blowing up in his face.
That's going to be super cute. Very, very cute.
Yeah.
Do you have a real ID yet, Scott?
Of course, because I'm not lazy.
I do too. But only because my license renewal, coincided with whenever the last time I had to renew it coincided with the ability to get one. Rob doesn't have one yet. He's working on getting his. So this continues to perplex me. I feel like maybe we talked about this once when I was back when I was a guest host.
Yeah.
For the Swish edition, but apparently DMVs across our nation are a mob scene right now because people are suddenly realizing that they need a real ID, that is, by May 7th in order to fly. I think that you can use if you have a valid unexpired passport, you can use that instead of a real ID.
But most Americans do not have a passport.
That's right. That's right. But I feel like this deadline has been pushed again and again and again and again. Yeah. So a few statistics. Well, first of all, speaking of people gouging, there are scalpers apparently who are selling DMV appointment times in Miami. Can you imagine such a thing? But a few statistics. 98% of Texans already have their real IDs, but only 26% of Pennsylvanians have one.
The hell's wrong with the people in Pennsylvania?
What does that data tell us, I wonder? But anyway, a real ID is marked with a little star in the upper right corner.
Yes.
And it means that you have gone through a slightly more rigorous process, essentially, of proving your identity, right?
That basically, you have to have, I don't know if you have to actually have your birth certificate, but I think that helps. And you have to have your social security card, and there's some other things. You need to definitively prove who you are.
It's definitely more of a pain in the ass than just, your whatever you needed to have for a regular driver's license.
But once you have one, But once you have one, you have it forever.
You don't have to do it again. That's right.
Well, you have to renew it at some point, but you don't have to go through that process again. Yeah.
You don't have to prove your identity again.
Right.
Once you've proven it, you're good to go. But it was the concept of the Real ID was announced back in 2005.
Yeah.
And some states started issuing them in 2012. Others came up with a ton of excuses why they weren't ready.
Right.
But all states have been issuing them since 2020. I think
5
I
years.
got mine in 2023, I think.
Yeah. But so here's the thing. I've had mine for a long time because, as you know, I've moved 5 times
A million
in the last
times.
in the last 7 years. So every time I move, I have to get a new one. So I've had one. But most people who have a driver's license who are of age, their license is good for 10 years.
Right.
So if some of the states didn't come on until 2020, they still might have 5 years left on their driver's license. So they probably didn't see it as something that they had to do.
Well,
but now,
what they should have done. What they should have done is they should have said that the rule is if your license expires after 2005, the next time you have to renew it, you have to get a Real ID. But they didn't. They made it a choice. And
why would you make it a choice?
Since it's more of a pain in the ass, people said, no, I don't want to deal with that right now. Just give me a regular driver's license.
People
over
are idiots.
and over.
Well, people are idiots, and the government are idiots for letting it go on for so freaking long, and letting the states and the DMV companies or whatever they are, departments, constantly come up with reasons why they couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
But if you give people a choice, they're always going to take the easy way out.
They will defer, of course.
They'll say, it's just like if your doctor says, would you like to get your physical today or would you like to get it next month? You're going to say next month because who the fuck wants to get a physical, right? I don't know.
Right, exactly.
All right, I'm playing the music,
Sweet.
Kristin.
Sweet.
Finally, I knew, as you know, behind the scenes, guys, even though we're putting this out on April 2nd, we taped it yesterday on April Fool's Day. So we're halfway through the day. It's what time there on the East Coast? It's about 2 p.m.
It's 2-ish p.m., yeah.
Did you get punked yet or pranked yet?
Yes. My 7-year-old Max was so pumped and excited about April Fool's Day. I cannot tell you. It was almost like Christmas morning or something. He jumped out at me this morning, like the minute I walked out of our room. He had made like a jack-o'-lantern mask or something.
Yeah.
And he jumped out from behind the door and scared me and was like, April Fool's. And then before he left for school, he presented me with half of an Oreo cookie that had white stuff on the top of it and said, Mama, I separated the Oreo. Do you want half of it? And I knew what it was, but I took it anyway, and it was toothpaste on the Oreo. April Fools! I thought that was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute. Well, I'm still going to get you. I still have several hours left. All right. I think that's enough for this week. What do you think?
I think we're done.
Yeah, we did over an hour. That's gonna be
our first video episode.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
Super fun.
It was fun.
All right. We'll see you again next week. How about that? And people can see us again next week.
Woo!
Now, Kristin, get out your piece of paper and pen and write down what you're wearing so you don't accidentally wear it again next week.
Oh, my wardrobe is like Johnny Cash. I wear black every day, so I don't have to worry.
All right. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you next week. Don't forget to, if you're not watching us on YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe to the show right now.
Do it now. Okay, bye.
The Swish Edition is a production of Bethwick Media, LLC. Learn more about the show at swishedition.com. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast app or site. But only if you like us.